Hey there folks, welcome to this video. This is General Notes, where I fire off the week by talking about the world of motorsport and a couple of things that are going on in my mind, as well as what's going on around this channel. So, without further ado, let's get straight in, shall we? Starting off, I've got a couple of things I'm going to be covering over the course of this week. WRC predictions for 2026, potentially the F1 ones, potentially the IMSA ones. The big thing is, over the course of this week, we have the Mexico City E-Prix. I might actually release that on the Sunday, even though the E-Prix is on the Saturday, because I don't know how much time I'm going to get to sit down and watch the E-Prix over the course of, well, Saturday. You can also expect probably a return to putting some reels onto CSRE. I want to also update that with some more things from my more recent sim racing exploits, potentially stream clips from the last streams that I did for that channel as well. But yeah, for a lot of January, I think potentially only the last Monday of January, you should expect to see the regular thing of Monday general notices. I think for the last weekend, the only reason it's not is because we have Monte Carlo and the Daytona 24. That's just before F1 has its first bout of pre-season testing. So, yeah. Could have some predictions reviews if some more things come to light, but don't necessarily hold out hope for that one. Much like my best drivers of 2025, which could full well be halfway to 2026 when I actually talk about it. But let's get on to motorsport news. Starting off, I haven't really talked about this, but Toyota have a new rally car. It's not going to the WRC, it's going to the ARA, the American Rally Championship. And one of the drivers for it will be the Dakar TGR driver, Seth Quintero. It's Toyota Corolla, which, you know, is a lovely kind of clickbaity headline thing of Toyota Corolla rally car back. It's for RC2 regulation, so the American equivalent of R5. I know RC2 is Rally Class 2, and we use that for Rally 2, but it's not necessarily homologated to Rally 2. But it'll be interesting to see what this GR Corolla's like. Be nice to see if these kinds of things would fit in with, say, WRC 27, so then you could get some of these more regional cars competing at the World Championship level, especially if the bid for a Rally USA actually takes more traction. Speaking of new cars, let's talk about GT3s. We know that the Toyota GR GT3 is going to be coming at some point over the next 12 months. We know that Lamborghini have their new GT3 on the way as well. And also, Mercedes has got a new one. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. It looks like V8s are the way now in GT3 racing, with Lamborghini switching to a twin-turbo V8 instead of an NA V10. And Mercedes, most likely, from what I've been seeing around, is going to be with a twin-turbo V8. And the same for Toyota, because the Lexus that it's replacing is a twin-turbo V8. It's nice to see these kinds of things happening, especially for Mercedes, because they haven't done much in the way of investment and development. I mean, the AMG GT3 is probably the oldest... no, because the Lexus exists. It is up there as one of the oldest GT3s in active use at World Championship level. But the Lexus does still exist. The Lexus is... well, I think it hasn't actually had an update since the version that's in ACC, so I think it is genuinely about 10 years old at this point. It's basically running down the clock on its homologation. At least with Mercedes, it's what, 2020? I say at least. Around the same time, there was a Ferrari 488 Evo, and a couple of years later, they brought in the 296. Around that time that the first evolution of the NSX came in, and there have been another evolution since. We had the Ford Mustang. We've had multiple evolutions and new for this year Lamborghinis. Because I think Evo 1 was around 2020. Then you had Evo 2 and then the new car. So it'll be nice to see when it finally hits the track. I reckon give it another year. But they've been less coy about revealing details compared to, say, Toyota. And speaking of revealing details, F1 fans don't tend to know where the line is, and we tend to cross it quite a bit in parasocial ways. I've seen, for example, people I know who happen to meet an F1 driver. They'll take a photo, put it on their social media. It ends up on a fan page. I've seen it myself, actually, where things that I'll say end up elsewhere on the internet, or yeah, I say one thing about a particular driver, and then all of a sudden some people from that fan base come along. It's nice to have that sense of community, but sometimes you go a little bit too far. So I'm going to use a Races article about Giampiero Lambiase as a basis for this, because they don't actually talk about the big situation. I'm not really going to talk about it itself, but yeah, stick with me because I'm going to go for a couple of minutes about this. So firstly, Lambiase wasn't necessarily around too much this season. There were things going on in his personal life. After the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, there was this emotional exchange. And yeah, rumour is actually that Lambiase, who also has an engineering job within Red Bull, is looking at switching across to Aston Martin. Potentially even this year. But even then, when it comes to comments, people tend to keep it quite quiet. Because understandably, you'd want to. So, for instance, the race has a quote from Verstappen saying, "It's been an emotional year. Forget about the results this year. I also don't want to go into too much detail, but it's been tough. I've been very happy to work with someone that passionate." Because, yeah, some F1 fans take it to another level. Some F1 fans went on Facebook, trawling through bits and pieces, and picked out what the personal thing was. I don't think people wanted that to be public. Having worked in, companies, I know that you tend to have to disclose these things that are going on in your personal life to your boss. So it's not a shock to anybody in the F1 world that these things were happening. But some of us fans, we just take it to another level. You see, I've just, whilst talking about this, remembered in 2020 I made a video about Kimi Räikkönen because he had the face mask that he wore on the grid, which had an iron cross on it. And it was from a particular American chopper company who've had long-standing links to other symbolism that can be used from the Iron Cross. And I pointed that out. That's not the best thing to wear when F1's doing this We Racers One anti-racism thing. Do you know what happened? Somebody, I think the comment is still on the video. Do not go finding it. Do not harass this person for it. Somebody sent my video multiple times to Kimi and his family, suggesting that they sue me. F1 fans really don't know the limit. You could just be critical of their favourite driver and they'll dox you. And you see it so much in other elements of stand culture. It's not unique to F1, but F1 has had the influx of it over recent years. I mean, it's quite telling that everyone left, right, and centre jokes about F1 Twitter. It is a cesspit. From people saying that Lewis Hamilton should be an 8-time world champion to some people saying 6 or even 5. You could just throw Abu Dhabi 21 in anywhere on Twitter. You're going to have multiple sides, because it's not just 2 sides, this is multiple sides, just dogpile on you. And then you just see people dig so much into people's personal lives. I seem to remember, was it around 2020? Lando Norris had done a piece with Autosport where they went to his house and they had a look around. It had an external shot. I was like, oh, that's cool. I know where this is. That's really nice. That's a quite modest thing. People went to that house. People kept going to that house. Now, this is not something that's necessarily new. I think, isn't it that infamous streamer Jack Doherty, or Doherty, or however, had a rep as a young kid for trying to go to the FaZe house and trying to meet people from FaZe Clan. Sounds ancient internet, or somebody recently was calling me Unk, and I fear that I am rapidly approaching that Unk status. We need to remember the people are people, and that kind of thing crosses a line. So, whilst you may want to know the answers to everything, remember the people are human beings. Respect their boundaries. If these reasons are not in the public know, there's a reason for that. And I think we need to consider it a lot more. But, I don't know, I'm just one guy. You can all let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How long did I go on that bit? I actually don't know, but we've been going for nearly 15 minutes. I've also noticed that my talking head is quite very much a levitating head at this point. I haven't figured out the right height for that webcam. And knowing me, next time I stream over there, I'll have changed the angle on this and it'll either be better or worse. But yeah. Thanks for watching and joining as always, folks. And again, as always, till next time. Because there's always been a next time on this channel so far. Bye for now.